Okay.
Now
I'm going to go off.
Happy New Year, everybody.
I'm going to mute.
Randy, you are muted.
I have Warren on the phone. I want to see if I can set something else. So
Okay. Then I will pause the recording.
take care. I'll speak to you soon. Okay, bye-bye. All right, well, that's out. All right, so we have a quorum here. Okay, so let me go back to where I was before. Okay, so I'll get started. Welcome to 2022, everybody. Glad to see your smiley faces. And I don't see Francina now. Where's the smiley face?
We saw her for a moment.
It was there before. All right. Anyway, there she is. Okay. So Orrin is on probably 2.5 weeks ago suffered a fall at his home and was at the hospital, and now he's in a rehab place. So it's difficult for him. He sounds good though, and he's now finally able to have visitors, which he was not permitted to have when he was in the hospital because of COVID. So he's unable to join us now, and Francis has told us he can't be here either. So the first thing, we have a quorum. So the first thing is approval of today's agenda, and I'll make a motion in a second.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. And the November 10th meeting minutes were distributed by Jessica. So I hope that everybody got them. If there's no comments on them, I'll move they get approved and I get a second.
I'll second it.
Okay, and any against? Okay, it's fine. Okay, so the chair's report. Thankfully, it's been fairly quiet. I held off sending out the minutes to you, Jessica, because I wanted to make sure that there wasn't some like really, really bad storm activity affecting Metro North on Monday, and there was none. And I think it's not a big deal up there right now. I mean, I haven't received any alerts about it. So there is that minutes. I saw that thing someplace here. All right, let me do it this way. No, that's not the one I wanted. Okay, here we go. All right, so Metro North did one extra service for the holidays, and they did have the proper PDFs on the website, so those who are who don't have smartphones can have access to the to a written a hard copy. I know that my colleague there, Walter, support having real timetables. I mean, I use them all the time, even though I may have the schedule in my head. I still like to look at it. And New Jersey Transit still does provide those timetables, but right now Metro North is not. So I think that I spoke with someone there, and I said that when things get back to normal, I think print the fewer copies, but do please print them. And he said he would support that for me. All right, we're still messed up on the Hudson line. That's the only line that never fully recovered its service because of Hurricane Ida, which is now 4 months almost. Both of you will be down there lately to this.
Randy, you're breaking up. I think it would probably be better if you turn your video off since you're having yeah. All right, why don't you try that again?
Well, I could try. Hang on, let me just try and see if I can put the
No, this
Wi-Fi.
is better. I would say just why don't you just do that? You would sing the Hudson line.
Okay, all right. Because the Wi-Fi is working now on my other computer, so we're working here too. All right. Have any recent trips down to Grand Central on the Hudson?
I'm sorry, say that again, please.
Do you have any recent trips down the Hudson line to Grand Central that you could report on and how the service was running?
I haven't recently. In the last couple of trips I took, everything was fine, other than there were not that many people on the trains. But that's what's been going on these days. But I did ride most recently a Poughkeepsie train down, got on at Cortland Harmon. It was kind of at the edge of the rush hour in the morning, like around 8:15 out of there. And there were maybe 35 people in each car, which was not very heavy loading, but that's the way it was. Returning was, well, it's during the off peak, so it wasn't so heavy, but the ridership is down more now because of the, the new variation of COVID.
So do we still have, we had, when I left in December, we had tracks 1 and 2 out. So they were, everything was running from between CP19 and CP25. Everything was running on tracks 1 and 4. I'm sorry, yeah, 3 and 4. Do you remember what track you were on?
Yeah, I think we were on track 4 going down.
Okay. All right, so they haven't, I think the last track, they still have the local track on the southbound side. Okay, so I looking at the ridership numbers, and it's been very, very disappointing. For Metro North, which was doing well into the low 50s before this Omicron, Monday was only 34%. Monday was 50, actually Monday was 17% on Monday, but you had the holiday and you also had the snow. Tuesday was 39% compared to 2019. The Long Island Railroad did much, much better, 34% on Monday and 44% on Tuesday. Subway at this week, 52.1 and 53.7. And our cash cow has fallen. There were days that the bridges and tunnels were over 100%. They're back in the 80s and 90s. So hopefully when this Omicron thing passes, we'll our ridership back.
Yeah, I was speaking with Mark Mannix about something last week, something else, and I asked him how the ridership was, and he said it was now averaging about 35% on weekdays.
Yeah. And even the weekend.
Down from what it had been, obviously.
Well,
Hopefully we're seeing the tipping point going in the other direction.
It'll come back up.
Yes. Honestly, I think that the very high profile crime and the murder in the subway over this past weekend has really heightened people's fear, and people don't want to take transit. And they're not differentiating between whether it's a commuter rail or a subway. And I think that we're going to see a reflection of that in the coming weeks, and unless something high profile is done to counter what's happening, what happened.
Okay. Well, we have to have some decent places for people with mental problems to be given proper care and not let around to roam around with regular people who are just trying to go about their lives. All right, the freedom ticket. I'll let Bradley talk about it. The result is what happened after actually we had our quarterly meeting in early December. The meeting was afterwards, the board meeting. So Bradley, go ahead, talk about the fair initiatives that are coming in effect in March, please.
So yeah, they do have their pilot programs that they're going to be implementing. Lisa, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe in March.
Yes, March 1st.
Okay, and they're supposed to last anywhere between 4 and 6 months. They're doing for the commuter railroads, they're doing their 20 trip tickets at a 20% discount. They're also doing the 10 trips, I believe, at a 10% discount.
It's not a 10, no, the monthly at a 10%.
The monthly, thank you. And they're also doing the fare capping, and they're expanding the city ticket program to include off-peak hours during the weekdays. We, of course, this is a good step in the right direction. However, of course, we think that more must be done, especially with our Freedom Ticket program, which really is instrumental because that provides a transfer between the commuter railroads and subways and buses, and that's what's really needed to help get people back onto transit, to the system as a whole. So we're going to continue pushing for that, even though that was not part of their temporary fare discount discussions. We will continue to advocate for that, especially as these other pilot programs progress. We will voice our support for these programs. But of course, we're going to still be pushing for a full freedom ticket expansion to go beyond this, because that's going to offer more of a long-term solution instead of a temporary solution. So we will continue to push for that, and hopefully we can get your guys' support on that, and we'll keep you guys notified in case there's any other events that are coming up where we can voice our opinions to speak to that, and whether we do further board testimonies to help support that as well. Lisa, I'm not sure if you wanted to add anything to that.
No, I think that you got it.
So you want to give your observations of how the press conference,
Can't hear anything that you were saying, Randy. I'm sorry.
the press conference, how the press conference at Fordham Station,
How did it go?
no, for the people who weren't there.
Okay, I think you're wanting me to speak to that. I'm sorry, you keep breaking up, so I'm trying to piece your words together.
I'm doing it. I'm just sitting right here. I'm not even moving.
Yeah, I don't know. So yeah, we did, it was in December, we did our press event with the then Bronx Borough President, Ruben Diaz Jr., also with Vanessa Gibson. We also had Danny Pearlstein from Writers Alliance and Liam Blink from Tri-State to come and join us. And it was a really good event. We got some press coverage. Everybody had a lot of—
Two assembly members and a council member
Thank you.
as well.
Yeah, and I think everyone spoke very well. We really pushed for it. And that was the day before the board meeting when they were making their temporary fare decisions. And so, yeah, it was a really good turnout, and we will hopefully plan more rallies as time goes on, not just in the Bronx, but also in Long Island Railroad territory as well. So we'll keep you notified of those things, and be really great to get council support and have people show up and speak on behalf of freedom ticket expansion.
Okay. All right.
I will say that we, I just want to add to that, that we are, going to support City Ticket, as Bradley had said, and we are looking to educate the new council members who are coming in, the new elected officials. There's an entire class of essentially more than half of the city council members are new, who are coming in, who just started. So we're going to work through different elected official networks to educate them on what this is, on what Freedom Ticket is and City Ticket, and also to continue working with our suburban electeds to convince them that this is an important program for them as well, because we did hear from Amy Paulin some concern she had about, what does this mean for my constituents? And so, we need to continue pushing the point about why Freedom Ticket 2 expansion is important for reverse commute, for getting people back on board off peak, but also continuing to push for the resumption of express service, because that's something that you all have talked about extensively, and that's something that she raised several times.
And can you hear me any better now?
For now, we can.
Okay, good. Because I said they said it'd be like at 12:20 they would have repaired all the Wi-Fi stuff. So I'll put myself back on here. If it comes to be terrible again, I'll change it.
And Randy, real quick, I just wanted to add that we are working on a resiliency report right now that will touch all of our commuter councils. And one part of that is to help get riders back on board, to help the system be more sustainable and environmentally friendly. So Freedom Ticket does feed into that. So we will be pushing for it once again in this report, in whatever form that takes. So we will be highlighting that as Freedom Ticket will help attract people out of their cars in time for congestion pricing implementation, and hopefully be able to get more cars off the road. So it will be plugged in that report as well.
Okay, so Lisa had sent the link to me yesterday to watch the confirmation hearings for the new, well, they started off with the new health commissioner, Mary Bassett, and that went on for a very long time. And then
Hours.
Hours, yeah. And then finally they got to the MTA stuff, but they didn't give Shadow Lever first. They put Elizabeth Velez. So I didn't get to see a lot of what she had to say because of the problems with the Wi-Fi and couldn't get back in. But eventually I did, but it was not a good experience. But later on for Jano, it was well received. I had no problems with it. Now I missed a lot of. I know there was she was being questioned about west of Hudson, as was Jano, and he had a lot of very good answers. Seemed to be well in grasp what was going on. I'll speak about the Jano since I'm speaking now. He knows they need to have additional sidings. He also knows they have to build. They're working to maintain this structure. I think he was talking about the viaducts. I think he was really meaning Mudna, although there are other viaducts that on the line as well. But he's well aware of what has to be done. And your state senator, Carl Brabenec, was giving him, asking a lot of questions. And our new guy from Rockland, Melnick, he also had a pretty good grasp of what things are. The only thing he said, and I called the office when I saw he got off, he talked about the West Shore. And that's not something that's been alive. I looked back and I saw that Ord and I had served on the Citizens Liaison Committee to the West Shore. I think some of you may.
Oh, Randy, you froze. Mid-sentence. Okay. Well, we'll come back to Randy when he reemerges from Wi-Fi hell. Having spent a week in Florida last year, right around where Randy is, trying to work from there, I had exactly the same experience with my Wi-Fi. It was really terrible. I think it's a whole different system, like a different planet from where we were. I don't know. But I did listen to. Oh, there you are. Sort of. Wait,
Yeah.
maybe not.
I'm here. I'm here.
Okay. We were on the West Shore. Just started talking about the West Shore.
I served 9 CSX, that was it. It died. So anyway, so we're also over here.
Randy, I'm sorry, but your audio is terrible. Maybe if you dial in on the phone and then we can hear your audio and then you can use the video if that works, and just use the audio on your phone.
So what am I doing? I'm going to call in on what number?
You're going to call in on the number and then turn the audio off on your phone.
Oh, okay.
I mean, turn the audio off on your computer.
You want me to use? I should use the link like I'm doing a Zoom. Is that what you're saying?
No, use the phone number to call in on your phone, and then on your computer, just mute yourself, and that way you can use the audio from your phone and the video if it comes back up on the computer. I too was impressed with the number of west of Hudson questions that came to both Jano and Elizabeth Velez. I was not very impressed with. I was very impressed with Jano and his preparedness.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yay, okay, great.
Yes, I think it's much clearer now.
All right,
Yes.
so I've turned the I've turned the sound off on my computer and I'm going through here.
Great. There you
Okay,
are.
all right,
Okay.
all right, so go ahead.
No, so you were talking about the West Shore and you and
Oh, I-
Oren were on the committee.
And
Oh, I thought-
Randy, can
I
can
thought-
you educate us? Can you educate us on the West Shore, what that means, what that is?
Shore, there used to be a New York Central West Shore line that ran from Weehawken to, I mean, let Walter, because he may have written the thing. Go ahead, Walter.
Okay,
Oh,
thank you.
Because the West Shore Railroad started in Weehawken, New Jersey, and there were ferries from West 42nd Street and from Cortlandt Street to Weehawken, and it went as far north as Albany, although most of the commuter trains went only as far as West Haverstraw. Some went to Dumont, some to West Haverstraw, and a very few to Newburgh. So from time that it was discontinued, I guess it was in 1959 in December, and the ferries were discontinued. And then there was no way for the commuters from New York City to get to the trains, which were in Weehawken. So when they discontinued the ferries, there were very few people riding any of the trains, and perhaps about 9 months later, they were able to discontinue the trains. Since that time, every now and then, there are requests to study the reinstitution of passenger service on the West Shore Railroad. This has come up from time to time over the years. There have been several studies made, but nothing has ever come of any of them. And I haven't heard anything recently about a proposed additional study of the West Shore, but you know, it can always happen. There can always be a request for such a thing. Some years ago,
So-
when I was still at Metro North, the Orange County Chamber of Commerce asked someone, and they sent me to come up to their meeting up in Newburgh, and they were very interested in knowing how the Conrail takeover or the CSX takeover from Conrail would impact the West Shore. And I just told them there'll probably be more freight trains, but don't look for any passenger trains very soon, because I can't see that happening. So they were not happy to hear that, but nevertheless, that is the fact.
So that was the same line they had, the commuters wore these pig masks. Photo was taken of it, and they said that the pigs can go anywhere in the country, but we can't ride a train here in the area, right? Is that what it was, Walter?
Yes, Robert R. Young, when he had taken over the New York Central, he was arguing that a hog can cross the country without changing trains, but you can't. You have to change in Chicago or New Orleans or St. Louis. And so when then they tried to discontinue the West Shore, some of the commuters put on a demonstration with pig masks to show, well, we don't even want to cross the country. We only want to go to Dumont or Bergenfield or wherever it is, and you don't even want to take us. There was a publicity stunt, obviously, but it got a lot of publicity for sure.
There was a lot
Well,
of
anyway-
conversation yesterday about a one-seat ride. And that led Jano to talk about the importance of doing the Penn Station project in Gateway and ways that there could be, the project could be integrated. He didn't use the words regional rail, but it sounded as though, that was the concept certainly.
Bergen Loop kept being brought up all the time.
Yeah, the Bergen Loop. And Rich,
So-
he brought one thing that made me go, Rich would like this, was somebody brought up a station at Woodbury Common. And Jano said, if you can convince the developers there to go along with that, we'll put a station there.
Yeah, he said, I'll sit down at the table with them if they agree to do it.
Yep.
Yeah, the only problem is Simon Property, which is the Woodbury Commons Mall. They own the property, and they have stated every time at the planning board meeting, they will not approve because they're afraid parking space in their next to the tracks will take away from their shoppers. So
Well,
that's their argument.
well, maybe a study would help with that.
All right, it was just, I think that you didn't hear my comment, the survey, the study rather, that was 1991 to 1994. And they were holding pretty much regular meetings, probably every quarter. with the consultants, and in the end, CSX said they're not sharing the right of way. All right, I think we beat that to death.
I do want
think the
to
next-
add, so there were, I would, so I thought that Jeno was very well versed in matters of both west of Hudson and east of Hudson, and and congestion pricing, and about the issues facing the MTA in the coming years, both and also on Long Island and in the New York City area and subways, buses. The new recommended appointee to the board, who actually was approved, Elizabeth Velez, will be passed. They're both going to be voted on today. Today's Thursday, today. Seem to have a lot of homework to do. I don't know, she's never been to a board meeting and seemed less familiar with a lot of the intricacies and vagaries of, I don't know that she's ridden Metro North before, but she seemed to have a lot of catching up to do. She, when pushed about congestion pricing, she said, oh, well, we have to listen to people and take all of their concerns into consideration. And then she was sort of feasted upon by elected officials who said, well, this is the law. You have to uphold the law. And she said, no, of course I understand that. Of course I understand that. What I meant was that it's, still important that we pay attention to what people say and make sure that their concerns are addressed within the law. So the word pander didn't occur to me at all. But if it had,
Was there any questioning about her regular work, her working for the construction industry?
There was. She said, that you can't work in construction in New York and not have interactions with the MTA, and that she understands how difficult it is to work in the field and to have interactions with the MTA. Both as on the construction side, and particularly on the construction side. And she's a WBE, and so has, I don't know if they've done work for the MTA. I think they do heavy civil work, but road work and buildings and things of that nature. But all of the work that they do has had some direct relationship with the MTA. So at least she understands what the construction side of things are. She lives in City Island, and she said her mother lives in Huntington Station, so she takes the Long Island Railroad to Huntington Station. I'm not sure that there's a station stop there, and she rides the Wyandanch branch. She used to ride the Wyandanch branch, and I don't know that there's a Wyandanch branch. So
There is a
she
Wyandanch station on the line.
there's
to
a
Ronkonkoma.
station. Yes, it's on the Ronkonkoma line, but it's not the
You just
Wyandanch.
got terminology mixed up.
Yeah. So, I guess I've been here long enough to feel, to be like, no, that's not right.
Full disclosure, I attended dozens and dozens of committee meetings for Metro North, Long Island Railroad, New York City Transit and Bus. The first board meeting I ever attended was the one I was a board member for. Okay. What else do we have? Oh, discussion priorities for 2022.
Yes.
Did you get all the responses?
I'm sorry, Randy, say it again, please.
The discussion of council priorities for 2022.
Right. So there are two things that we're looking from this conversation. One is for your website bios. Thank you for those of you who've sent them. For those of you who haven't, please send us your 3 top priorities so that we can add them to the website. And the other are the council priorities. This will help us help inform the work that we as your staff do in the coming year and years, and how we prioritize that work. So, you know, I don't know if you want to have a general discussion. No,
Sure.
Yeah.
Right. Bradley, you were collecting this data?
We all are, yeah. Basically for the bios on the website, we just need a few people to submit their 3 buzzwords, whatever their most important issues are. And then with the priorities, each council is doing that. And then the staff is going to look at the responses from each council to see what things we can move forward on. And then we'll circle back to the councils with what we gather from you is what we should be working on for 2022. So go ahead and send that to all of us, I guess. If you have any thoughts on that, whatever, just go ahead and CC all of us on that.
Who here has to send something in? I know that Walter did. I know I did. We took
I
care
didn't.
of.
I will.
Who said that?
Rich.
Please. Okay, Francina, have you done it yet?
Yeah, Francina said the only people I think I'm waiting for is Richard and Francis.
Francis.
Yeah, I will.
He promised.
Yeah, thank you,
to do it,
Richard.
huh? Oh,
What?
How about so you got from Francis? You did get from.
No, not Francis. We got Francina. I've got Walter. Who else am I
In
missing?
mine.
Oren.
And
No,
yours.
I have Oren. Randy and I discussed Oren.
Yeah.
There it is. Okay, so let me send a reminder to him. All right, so everyone else heard it right here from the horse's mouth. Please get your priorities in. Also, we were talking about this Bill of Rights. I must have one at home, but I won't have access to it now. Could we work off the one that the Long Island Railroad has and change some wording around, since I can't find the one that we had?
Yes, so we sat with the Long Island Railroad Commuter Council and let me pull it up. We I think I also have it up handy on my home computer, and have discussed with them updating it. So for a couple of reasons. One, so that it's not all in capital letters shouting, and 2, that it is more reflective of some of the issues happening today. Some of the comments that they had were to ensure that the word station also appears in where it says, hold on, let me grab this. I can share my screen with you if you give me a moment too.
They didn't ask they didn't ask to add any words about wearing masks, did they?
Yeah, they did not. They did want to add words about accessibility. And and I can't find it. Actually, let's see. Do any of you staff friends have it open? No. Hold on, let me
I
look.
have mine open, but on my computer, not my iPad. It should help.
No, I have it here in just a sec. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay, let me see about sharing my screen. Okay, can you see the LIRR's commuter bill of rights?
Not yet.
Yes, I see it.
Oh,
Okay. So we can, if we haven't sent this to you, we will. There, clearly a lot of it is still relevant. Some of it may have changed. We did want to add some conversation about accessibility. And there were some other things that we wanted to do. So basically, what we were going to do was add accessibility, add a healthy and clean environment, add language about stations and comfort, as opposed, where it says comfortable environment, so that it doesn't just look at, it's say number 7 or in number 7 that seems to really apply mostly to train cars, so that it also applies to 7. One of the situations on the Long Island Railroad now is that their station houses are closed mostly. On Metro North, you often have outside waiting areas that have heat. In a lot of places on Long Island, they don't have that. They may have some shelter from the storm, but a lot of them are just wide open platforms and the station houses are just closed. So you're cold and you're in the elements and there are no facilities anywhere. And they're,
so could I make a suggestion?
yes,
So I think we should try and keep everything the same for both councils, because we do represent and want the same things. Where something needs to be changed because it doesn't apply, then the wording could be different. And otherwise we keep both councils the same.
okay. So we are going to tweak this, and I'm planning to work on that tomorrow. So we'll get that out to you next week.
That's fine.
And Lisa, this is just a thought as I'm looking at this, that it might also be great, since we've been calling for freedom ticket discounts, that maybe, since there's 11 points here, which is kind of, I think they brought that up at the other council, that 11 is kind of a weird number. So we
Right.
can change that, but maybe we can talk about something about affordability or equity for riders or something like that. But that was just off the top of my head thought.
Right, but we were going to
Right
add
up here.
accessibility as number 12, but we can certainly work that in.
Okay.
Definitely.
Okay, and we can talk about this next month.
Yes.
Okay.
Is it the Metro North company policy that a customer must be given the employee's identification number upon request? I didn't know if that is or is not the Metro North policy.
I don't know. As far as I know, everybody I see wears their number so that you can see it very easily. And if you
No, they have Metro North, they have badges with their name on, first name.
oh, just name.
They have the first name and then the initial, usually the last initial, I think.
Correct.
Initial with the first of the last name.
Okay.
So that can be a change for hours. They could be the same except for that.
Well, unless we think that they should give them that.
Yeah, but that's also, avoids having to have interaction with somebody that you're complaining about. If you already have the name and their name and the initial of their second name, I think it avoids having to have a further discussion for them.
Right. Right. Yeah. Right. Well, I think number 10 is also I think that there are some things here that have probably changed over the years with the advent of more and broader communication channels too.
So we could limit number 10.
We
Okay.
we definitely need to tweak and change and revise, I think. So that's definitely something that we can look at. So we'll work on that. I've actually already changed this. This came about, this is from 2014.
Maybe we could have the 10 commandments instead of having 12. 10 is much easier to work with than 12.
Right. Well, right. We just need to add in accessibility, and I think affordable and equitable is also appropriate to.
All right.
vote. So,
And I'm sure we'll probably change our address at the bottom.
yeah. And then the thought was also to turn these into posters about the councils, and then to have them posted, either electronically or physically in stations. So
Sure.
we'll do that for both. Okay.
All right. So, all right. Do we have any old business that we need to discuss?
So I do want to just bring up the bike ped bill,
Oh, sure.
right? And the legislation that was passed in the state legislature and signed by the governor and is now awaiting some chapter amendments. This would add one new member to each of the councils who has a expertise and an interest in bicycle and pedestrian matters. And that would be, it would also expand our focus and our responsibilities to require us to provide recommendations to the MTA on improving bicycle and pedestrian access to MTA facilities.
Can we stop and see each other?
Sorry?
Stop the screen share?
Oh, yep, sorry. Okay.
Thank you.
So it would require us, so we would require us to provide input into the MTA's recommendations to the MTA on improving bicycle and pedestrian access to their facilities, including bridges and tunnels, commuter rails facilities, including trains and stations and subways, buses, etc. The MTA, for its part, is required to develop a strategic plan for how it will improve bike and pedestrian access to its facilities. There are a few things that still need improvement in the execution of this program, of this legislation. As it's currently written, we, PCAC, need to make our recommendations to the legislature in June of this year. The MTA does not need to develop its strategic plan for a year until after legislation is passed. So we won't even know what is going to be developed or what their plan is going to say, or what the strategic plan, what their strategic recommendations are going to look like. And the 20-year needs assessment that they're developing is not even going to be done in time for its, this will help inform that, but we will not have any of those tools available to us as we make these recommendations. Another concern that we have is that there is no mechanism for appointing the members of the Metro North Railroad Commuter Council or the Long Island Railroad Commuter Council. The only thing it says is shall not be appointed by the Westchester County Executive. So we know that, but we don't know by who else would make the appointment. So, or the recommendation. So we are going to try and address that, and also note that we have a number of vacancies on our councils now that we need to have filled. And this is going to present a host of issues for us by adding requirements of areas of expertise to our plate when we don't even have our slate of members. So I have a meeting this afternoon with our compliance officer here to find out if speaking directly to the elected officials who put this bill forward is considered lobbying or not. If it is, I just need to report that because I don't have $10,000 to give to the state of New York. If it is, there's a violation of that law. So I just need to, that's just something that we have to find out as one of those reporting things. But we will be reaching out to them to find out how we can further improve on these requirements, on this legislation. One of the issues that was raised by the Long Island Railroad Commuter Council was the number of bikes and scooters that they see on the railroad, particularly during rush hour, and the number of battery powered bikes and scooters that they're seeing on the railroad, and concerns about safety and what the policy is. It's okay. You can't have more than, on the Long Island Railroad, you can't have more than 4 bicycles on a train at any one time, I think is what their policy is. There's absolutely no enforcement of that. There's also no enforcement of the rush hour, the no bikes during rush hour regulation. So they were interested in writing a letter to Phil and to Phil Eng, and we're interested in knowing and to ask for a scooter policy, including the difference between motorized and non-motorized, to see if that would be something that you would also be interested in having defined for Metro North.
Lisa, I just had a quick question, and maybe you may not have the answer to this, and maybe I'm just not understanding it completely. But in the legislation where it says that they are excluding an appointment from the Westchester County Executive person or whatever, why is that in there, and why is it excluding Westchester? Okay, all right. Yeah.
Maybe
okay.
currently Westchester has the most appointments, so on the council. That would be the only reason I could think of. I can't think of a host of reasons for a variety of things that are in this legislation. So you're asking me to make reasons out of raisins.
Well, just to let you know how dire it is, we're supposed to have 38 members on the whole PCAC. We're missing 5. Long Island is 5, and the city is 7. There's 17 missing out of the 38.
Are there some who have been nominated and not appointed yet by the governor?
Yes, there are some who have been nominated. You're the only one who made it through in your batch.
What about the Long Island Christie?
There's one person who's waiting for Suffolk County approval. The Nassau County, on Long Island Railroad, you need 3 names for every 1 appointment. That's for the MTA board as well, for Nassau and Suffolk County. Through vagaries of that authorizing legislation. So that we could never get Nassau County to appoint to recommend their other names. So now we have a whole new administration in Nassau County that we have to first establish a relationship with, and then get them to focus. And that's going to take a little while for us to move that. Yeah, sorry, Randy.
The last one wasn't Walter, Karen Hamilton for the transit riders.
Yeah,
Right.
Yes. And we had Christy Tolbert from Suffolk for the Long Island Railroad. So we've got 1 of each council, but I've been here for 3.5 years, and we've gotten 1 for each council in 3.5 years. So, we're reaching out to the mayor and asking that he focus on his appointments. We've had several conversations with the Queensborough president. We've spoken with Vanessa Gibson in the Bronx. She's had tragedy after tragedy after tragedy in the past week or the last couple of weeks since she's been elected, since she's taken office. So let her settle in a little bit before we move forward with asking her to do this. But we'll follow up with Marisol, who is in the Bronx Borough President's office, and move and see what we can do to move forward the two outstanding Westchester County appointees that we have in the Governor's Appointments Office. So that's the bike ped ledge.
Hey, that's all right. So is there any other old business or new business we want to talk about?
If I can mention platform doors on subways, because
Not
that's
gonna
something
happen.
that's, well, it's not going to happen, but it's obviously been in the news a lot lately. And we've taken a stated position based on conversations with Andrew Albert, that it's, that there are a variety of reasons why they should not be a priority, that he stands in opposition to them. And
Yeah,
therefore that's not something that we support, because of the weight of the doors is something that could require a substantial need to rebuild a lot of stations. Because of the possibility of failure of the doors, then you could take out an entire station, or at least an entire side of a station. We've since heard that air circulation would be a big problem. That the number I heard today was only 27%, not even a very low percentage of stations would even be eligible to have these stations, to have doors constructed. So there would be a whole host of reasons.
Well, every place in the world I've ever traveled and seen them, the equipment they use on the line is all identical. There's no differences. Every single train set is exactly the same.
And then that's another key issue, that the train sets don't match, and that there could be issues of accessibility as well. So that's, I think that the knee-jerk reaction was absolutely, that's what we have to do. And it still would not solve the tremendous underlying issues that are happening underground. And there are so many and so horrible. So if you see conversations about what's happening, that's about our statements or positions on platform doors, that's the genesis and result. And the other thing is Transit Equity Day is February 4th. And our friends at Tri-State are planning an event in New Rochelle on February 4th. I'm waiting for details, and I'll share them with you as soon as I find out what they are.
The got knocked off there. The Xfinity guy is working outside the door doing something. My wife is speaking to him to find out if they're going to finally fix it. Okay, I may have missed something this minute, but is there anything else we want to talk about?
59
Can anybody
days.
hear
right,
me?
Randy?
I hear you. I don't have anything.
Okay,
Hey,
all right.
Hey, Bradley, this is Rich. I just sent you what you were looking for.
Yes, thank you. I just emailed you back. Thank you so much. And I instantly forwarded that to our copywriter. So thank you so much
Okay.
for that.
Thank you.
Can't see what that's in here.
Great, so we'll send you the revised Bill of Rights draft next week, and look forward to any other thoughts you have about council priorities, which may differ from your individual top three. It might be we need a more resilient system. we, you know, riders should be able to access hard copy, you know, Walter, you outlined that in your priorities, you know, what your top three are, that people should be able to have access to, you know, whatever ticket type they want. But, you know, maybe it's investments in rolling stock, improving communication, ensuring that there are, you know, adequate that there's adequate transparency so that we can see what construction is looking like and what delays are caused by and things like that. So just some thoughts.
All right, my Wi-Fi, I mean, it's been going in and out here because the fellow's working outside. Is there anything else that we need to talk about? We frozen?
No, we heard you. I think that we're good.
All right. So our next meeting is going to be on the 16th of February, same time, same place. And hope everybody has enjoys the rest of the day. Thank you for taking time out to be here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Into a
Bye.
second.
Second.
Okay. All right. Thank you, everybody.
All right, have a good week. Bye.
Yes.